The Book of Exodus is the second book of the Torah. Its title means going out or departure and derives from the Greek translation of the Bible, the Septuagint. Most scholars trace the materials in this book to three literary sources: the Yahwist, the Elohist, and the priestly source. The stories of the Book of Exodus belong to the New Kingdom period of Egyptian history, after the Egyptians expelled the Hyksos and regained control of their land. The Book of Exodus has two main parts: the stories of Israel's bondage and deliverance in chapter 1 verse 1 through chapter 18 verse 27, and the covenant between Israel and God at Mount Sinai in chapter 19 verse 1 through chapter 40 verse 38. At the beginning of Exodus, Israel's sons have grown to become the people of Israel. The text says that the Israelites were made slaves by the Egyptians for over 400 years. Historical records also indicate that the ancient store cities of Pithom and Ramses were built by foreign slaves, possibly Hebrews. These ancient texts also refer to a group of people living in the region at the time, known as Habiru. The Habiru were considered very low class by the Egyptians. Habiru may or may not refer to the Hebrews. Now Pharaoh saw that the Hebrews, whom he perceived as a threat to his rule, were increasing in population, so he ordered that all Israelite baby boys be killed. But the text says that the Hebrew midwives feared God and did not kill the baby boys. When Pharaoh questioned them about the lack of infanticide, they lied and told him that Hebrew women were always popping out kids faster than they could keep track of, and so God blessed the midwives. But Pharaoh eventually sent his soldiers from house to house to kill all of the Hebrew baby boys, and the babies were thrown into the Nile River as an offering to the river god. Now Moses was born during this time of distress, and his parents hid him for 3 months. Eventually, his mother took him down to the Nile River, but instead of throwing him in, she put him in a waterproof basket and hid him among the reeds, and his sister Miriam watched over him from a distance. Later, Pharaoh's daughter was bathing in the river nearby and found the basket with the baby inside. She wanted to keep the baby, and when she saw Miriam, she sent her to go find someone to nurse him for her. Miriam got her mom, and Moses was able to stay with his family until he was weaned before Pharaoh's daughter came and took him to live with her. She named the baby Moses, and he grew up in the Egyptian palace. Moses is an Egyptian name. It comes from Mose, meaning is born, and is very similar to the name Ramses, which means Ra is born. It's ironic that the man who would later become the leader of the Israelites would have an Egyptian name. When Moses was 40 years old, he decided he wanted to identify with his own people and do what he could to free them. One day, he saw an Egyptian beating a fellow Israelite, so he killed the Egyptian and hid the body. The next day, he saw 2 Israelites fighting with each other and he tried to stop them. They retorted, "Are you going to kill us like you killed the Egyptian?" And when Pharaoh found out what Moses did, he tried to kill him. And Moses fled Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian. In Midian, Moses married Zipporah, the daughter of a Midianite priest named Jethro. They had 2 sons, and Moses lived as a shepherd in Midian for 40 years. One day, while Moses was leading his flock near Mount Horeb, he saw a bush that was on fire but did not burn up. God spoke to him from the flames, telling him that he had heard the oppression of his people in Egypt, and so now he was going to send Moses to lead them to a land flowing with milk and honey. But when Moses heard this, he made all kinds of excuses about why God shouldn't send him back to Egypt. Moses said, "I'm nobody," to which God said, "I will be with you." Moses said, "I don't even know your name," to which God said, "Tell them, I am who I am, the one who is has sent you. This is my name forever." And Moses said, "What if they don't believe me?" And God said, "I will perform signs through you." And Moses is like, "But what if they don't listen to me?" And God is like, "Then I will perform more signs through you." And Moses says, "I'm not a good speaker," to which God replies, "Who gave man his mouth? Is it not I?" But Moses insists, saying, "Please send someone else." At this point, God gets mad and is like, "Okay, fine, I'll send your brother Aaron with you to help you out with this public speaking thing that you're so scared of." So after his encounter with God, Moses tells his father-in-law Jethro about what God had said to him, and he then packs up his wife and kids and heads towards Egypt. Here, the text strangely says, "And the Lord met him and was about to kill him," followed by a scene where Zipporah performs a circumcision on Moses' son and places the foreskin on Moses' feet, saying, "You are a bridegroom of blood to me." And the text says that the Lord decides to let him alone. Huh? So we're not really sure what in the world is going on in this passage. We don't know why Zipporah was able to save her family member with a flint knife, and with the overuse of pronouns, we don't even know whose life was in danger, Moses or his son's. It's kind of weird. But anyway, later Moses met up with Aaron and they went together to the elders of the Israelites in Egypt and performed miraculous signs for them. Moses and Aaron went before Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, 'Let my people go.'" But Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I won't let Israel go." And Pharaoh told everyone to get back to work. Pharaoh also took away the straw the people used to make bricks, and had the Israelites beaten if they didn't make enough bricks during the day, accusing them of being lazy. And so the Israelites became angry with Moses and Aaron for making their situation even worse. And Moses began to question God. But God reassured Moses that he would keep his promise to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Moses told this to the Israelites, but they didn't listen to him. God then sent Moses back to Pharaoh. But Moses started to make more excuses, saying, "Not even the Israelites listen to me, so why would Pharaoh? And I have faltering lips." But God says to Moses, "I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet." So God sent Moses and Aaron back to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh demanded a sign from them. So God told Aaron to throw his staff on the floor, and when Aaron did this, the staff turned into a snake. But Pharaoh brought in his magicians, and they caused their own staffs to become snakes as well. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs, and the text says that Pharaoh's heart became hard, and he would not listen to them.